I'll never forget the girl who was my age, but trapped in a body that couldn't move, couldn't speak, and could only cry. Soft monitor beeps, faint hospital lighting. The camera slowly zooms in on a young woman lying motionless in a hospital bed. When I met her, she was just 20, same as me at the time. We were both supposed to be figuring out life, college, friends, but she was in the MICU, hooked up to a ventilator, her body barely holding on. She had been a type 1 diabetic since she was a kid. After getting kicked out of her house at 18, she started rationing her insulin just to survive. Then, when COVID hit, everything fell apart. Unmanaged diabetes and the virus together, it was like her body didn't stand a chance. She went into cardiac arrest and was oxygen deprived for around 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That's all it took for her life to completely change. The lack of oxygen caused a traumatic brain injury, and when she finally stabilized, she couldn't move from the neck down, couldn't breathe on her own, couldn't talk, couldn't even swallow. After that, she was transferred to an LTAC long-term acute care. By the time she came to us again, she had stage 3 and 4 pressure sores. Her skin was breaking down from being bedridden so long. She was ventilator-dependent, had a chronic Foley catheter, and was living off TPN nutrition straight into her veins. You could tell her body was tired, but her eyes were the hardest part. They moved, darting around the room, searching. Sometimes she would blink or cry, and that was her only way to communicate. You never really knew how much she understood, but it was enough to make your chest tighten every time you walked into her room. Then, one night, everything started to spiral. She developed pneumonia that quickly turned into sepsis. Her blood pressure crashed. Her organs started failing. She was on pressors just to keep her heart beating. Her fingers and toes began turning black, necrosis from lack of blood flow. And then she became a candidate for dialysis. Her kidneys couldn't keep up anymore. It was like watching her slowly disappear, piece by piece. The team called in her parents to talk about hospice care, just to let her go peacefully, but they refused. They couldn't do it. I understood that kind of love, that desperation to hold on, but it also felt like watching someone drown while you're told not to pull them out. Every shift after that, I'd see her lying there, motionless, fragile, and still blinking those same eyes. Sometimes, I'd swear she was crying before I even walked in. And you start to wonder, does she know? Does she feel trapped in there? It haunted me for months. I'd go home, lie in bed, and see her face. I'd think about how we were born the same year, how our lives could have been completely different if a few things had gone another way. And then one day, she wasn't there anymore. Her room was empty. No announcement, no goodbyes, just gone. To this day, I still don't know what happened to her, but every time I walk into a room and see a young patient fighting for their life, I remember her, and I remember how fragile all of this really is.